Boruto Uzumaki is a character that many people have strong opinions on. Some call him a young lord like Katasuke does in this series. Some fans still call him an ungrateful spoiled brat. Other fans think he's a terrible new generation character. However, when you really dig down deep into Boruto's character, there's quite a bit to his character itself. Here are 15 things you likely don't know about Boruto Uzumaki if you've only read the Boruto manga or you've only watched the Boruto anime. So starting things off at number 1, did you know that Boruto not having the Byakugan wasn't some stroke of genius writing, but rather it was a mistake that Kishimoto didn't realize he made when Naruto chapter 700 was being drawn, but at that point he couldn't change it before the publication because the Naruto the last movie was already finished, which would be the first official animated debut of Boruto Uzumaki in the epilogue scene, which leads us to the next fact. Moving along to number 2, did you know that Boruto almost had a third sibling? Upon realizing this error about the Byakugan and knowing that Boruto the movie was already starting the pre-production phase, Kishimoto stated that the way he would fix Boruto and Himawari not having a Byakugan was by giving Naruto and Hinata a third child who would be born with the Byakugan, with them joking if the child didn't have a Byakugan, it would cause continuity problems, which I've covered in a longer video on this topic. Moving along to number 3, did you know there was a different plan in place for Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan than what we got in the anime and manga? You might be aware of the fact that the Vanishing Rasengan is a byproduct of incorporating lightning release, changing chakra nature to a Rasengan, something that Kakashi initially failed to do, which led to the creation of the Chidori. However, way back in 2015, Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan was originally going to be a byproduct of adding wind release to the Rasengan. We learned this information in the Boruto movie novelization written by the former writer of Boruto's manga, Ukyo Kodachi. Number 4, speaking of the Vanishing Rasengan, did you know that the one who created the concept of the Vanishing Rasengan wasn't the Naruto series creator Masashi Kishimoto? While a bulk of the movie was written by Kishimoto, Ukyo Kodachi made the suggestion at the last minute when Kishimoto was stumped on a believable way to include Boruto in the final battle with Momoshiki. Masashi Kishimoto says that he was cracking his brains over the finale, and it was Kodachi who made the suggestion of the Vanishing Rasengan, which up until that point in the story wasn't even a thing. Boruto's most iconic Rasengan was made up by Kodachi and approved by Kishimoto. Hard to imagine that Momoshiki arc without the Vanishing Rasengan, but it was almost the case. Number 5, did you know that Boruto's story, while it now is currently being drawn by Kishimoto's longtime assistant Mikio Ikimoto, it was almost a story that Kishimoto almost drew himself. Back in 2015, Kishimoto says that Boruto the movie was something he initially wanted to draw as a manga release, but was given the opportunity to write a script for the movie by the company who owns the IP rights for Naruto, i.e. Shueisha. At that point in time, Kishimoto had already drawn Naruto Gaiden, the spinoff that carries Naruto chapters 701 to 710, which makes up the Shin Uchiha arc in the anime. Kishimoto had originally planned to make Boruto the movie its own manga volume as well, but the higher power stepped in saying they needed a movie. We'd eventually get Boruto the movie in manga format when Boruto's manga would be serialized in 2016, which you gotta think that was probably Kishimoto's request since he originally wanted this to be a manga to begin with. Number 6, did you know that while a lot of fans love the idea of Sasuke being Boruto sensei, Masashi Kishimoto never actually initially planned for this to be the case? It's kind of hard to imagine, but when writing the story, Sasuke was never intended to be Boruto sensei until Kishimoto changed his mind while going over the movie script. The reasons for this are both because Kishimoto felt bad for not giving Sasuke a bigger role in Naruto the Last, and because he wanted the Boruto and Sasuke relationship to be like that of Gohan and Piccolo that was done in Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball manga, which was a heavy influence for Kishimoto as a mangaka. I think we can all agree this is one change we're glad Kishimoto made to the story. Number 7, did you know that in Boruto's name it's actually meant to pay homage to Neji Hyuga in a very clever way? Boruto's name in Japanese is a play on the English word bolt, whereas Neji's name means screw. This was done intentionally to pay homage to Neji, who Kishimoto once said he had died during the 4th Ninja War to give Naruto and Hinata an excuse to get closer together in order to cement their pairing. This is why in some of the very first artwork that we see Kishimoto draw for Boruto the movie, it had Boruto with a wrench, but we also see a series of bolts and a single screw in the artwork. This is also why Boruto wears a bolt necklace, because it's another nod to Neji and Boruto being named as an homage to the screw pun of Neji's name. Number 8, did you know that despite this last fact, Boruto's name almost wasn't Boruto? You'll want to sit down for this one because these names are a handful, because you're probably used to hearing the title Boruto Naruto Next Generations. However, Kishimoto almost went with the name Menma and Shinachi Shinachiku, which means we would have got Menma Naruto Next Generations or Shinachiku Naruto Next Generations. The reason for the other names he considered is because it ironically goes back to the name Naruto itself. Both of these names are names for seasoned bamboo shoots. Naruto is named in the spiral pattern in Japanese food, which makes sense why Kishimoto decided on these names before settling on Boruto, because Kishimoto wanted to continue the trend that he started with Naruto's namesake. Number 9, did you know one of the last Boruto related artworks that Kishimoto drew was a picture of Team 7 where we saw Sarda with her sun patterned Mangekyo Sharingan and Mitsuki using his Sage powers, but we also saw Boruto with 2 Byakugan and a Kurama Chakra mode of itself. Ever since that artwork was released in 2015, we've seen the powers for Sarda and Mitsuki, but we haven't seen Boruto with those powers yet, so something for all you Boruto fans to keep your eyes on. Number 10, did you know that Boruto's primary change in chakra nature has actually flip-flopped a few times in the 8 years since Boruto's been drawn in manga format, going back to Naruto Gaiden in 2015? Well, it first started out with Boruto having a dominant chakra nature of when released, like his father according to Sasuke in the Boruto movie and its novelization, but then in 2018, when the anime got to the episode where Sasuke showed Boruto the Chidori, we learned from Sasuke that Boruto's primary chakra nature was lightning release, which Boruto had a strong affinity for, likely due to the fact that the Vanishing Rasengan's chakra nature changed from wind to lightning release in the anime and manga. However, when we jump ahead to 2020 during the release of the Kara actuation arc, we learn from Boruto himself that he believes that wind release is his primary chakra nature, despite the fact that Boruto first learned to use lightning release before he even began to learn wind release. Number 11, did you know that when we see Boruto in the Naruto The Last Epilogue scene, Boruto's actually 5 years old in this scene? We know this information due to the character sheets that Studio Pierrot released after the movie came out, where we see Boruto's 5 years old and Himawari's 3 years old during that scene. For those of you who are already doing the math, yes, this means Naruto and Hinata wasted no time starting their family after they got married, taking a page out of Goku and Chi-Chi's book, because they did the same thing with Gohan, which is another clever nod to Kishimoto's influence by Akira Toriyama. Number 12, did you know that Boruto's actually confirmed to be 16 years old during the flash forward sequence where he takes on Kawaki? We also know this information courtesy of Studio Pierrot, who released the character model sheet for Boruto months after the first episode of the anime aired. He was in possession of Sasuke's sword and headband, but most importantly, Boruto was 16 years old according to that sheet, meaning the flash forward sequence took place 4 years after the events of Boruto the movie, which interestingly enough, on Kawaki's character sheet, we never get Kawaki's age, which means it's being kept secret to this day, with only speculation in universe and amongst fans on how old Kawaki actually is. Number 13, did you know that Boruto actually holds the record for the highest grossing movie in the entire Naruto franchise? That's right. Take whatever your favorite Naruto movie was, whatever your favorite Naruto Shippuden movie was, Boruto the movie outgrossed it by a decent amount, which played a huge role in the Boruto anime and manga becoming a thing. Kinda ironic given the discourse around Boruto as a franchise, when it was the fans who supported the release of the movie in record-breaking numbers, which gave Shueisha the green light to make an anime and movie, because fans voted with their purchasing power. They wanted more of this content. Number 14, did you know that Boruto has a pretty embarrassing secret that only Hanabi, Hiyasha Hyuga, and Hinata Hyuga are actually aware of? We learned in the Naruto Parent and Child A novel, in a chapter that wasn't animated by the anime, that Boruto's big secret is that he likes to wear a special type of underwear, in particular pink underwear, but not just any shade of pink. Hinata refers to it as a fluorescent pink shade of his underwear, and Hanabi busts out laughing when Hinata describes Boruto putting on the underwear, and she says that his bottom was so shiny, which leads to Hiyashi saying under his breath that his grandson loves pink underwear, writing it down because he's thinking of a gift to give Boruto. It takes a pretty masculine man to wear pink underwear, because I ain't wearing pink underwear. I don't know about you. Finally, at number 15, did you know that Boruto's actually carrying on the tradition that his father had after becoming friends with Shikamaru and Gaara? In Naruto chapter 254, on the cover page, we see Naruto wearing 3 friendship bracelets, one for himself, one for Shikamaru, and one for Gaara. Boruto in the manga and in the Academy light novels also wears a friendship bracelet on his arm, along with Shikadai, which makes you look at those sequences in episode 1, where we see how close they appear to be before the Academy, a lot different now. The only difference they have between their fathers is that they don't have each other's names on their bracelets. However, that's going to be it for 15 things you likely didn't know about Boruto. How many of these that you already know? And if we can hit 3,000 likes on this video within a week of publishing this video, I'll drop 15 things you didn't know know about Sarada Uchiha.